No one heard a gunshot. No one saw a body. No one watched him leave. Yet prosecutors say Matthew Johnson died in his own bed, and the proof was hidden in plain sight. Matthew Johnson was not the kind of man who vanished. He was 51 years old, a Utah National Guardsman, a father of 3, and someone known for routine and responsibility. He showed up, he answered calls, he followed schedules. So when he failed to report to work in late September of 2024, concerns spread quickly. Coworkers tried calling him. Nothing. Messages went unread. His phone stayed silent. At first, people assumed something simple, a family emergency, a misunderstanding. But as hours turned into days, the silence became impossible to ignore. Matthew Johnson was missing. Police were contacted, and a missing persons investigation began. Detectives traced his last known location to his home in Cottonwood Heights, Utah, the house he shared with his wife, Jennifer Gledhill, and their 3 children. Jennifer told police she didn't know where he was, but almost immediately investigators noticed things that didn't make sense. Matthew hadn't taken clothes, he hadn't packed for a trip. Important personal items were gone, but not in a way that suggested planning. And for a man who lived by structure, his disappearance felt abrupt and unnatural. Behind closed doors, the reality of Matthew's life had been unraveling. His marriage was collapsing. Jennifer Gledhill, 42, was involved in an extramarital affair. The relationship inside the home had grown tense and volatile. Arguments became frequent. Trust had eroded. Friends later said Matthew had begun avoiding the house altogether at times, choosing to sleep at National Guard facilities just to keep the peace. Divorce was looming, and the atmosphere inside the home was strained. Then came a detail that would later feel impossible to ignore. Just days before Matthew vanished, Jennifer sent an urgent message to her father. "I need $13,000 by Friday." At the time, it sounded like stress, financial pressure, desperation. Later, prosecutors would argue it sounded like preparation. Less than 2 days after Matthew was last seen, the case took a turn no one expected. Jennifer allegedly confessed. Not to police, not to family, to the man she was having an affair with. According to investigators, Jennifer arrived at his home and began talking. She told him Matthew had confronted her about the affair, that emotions escalated, that the marriage had reached a breaking point. Then she told him something that made his blood run cold. She said that later that night, after midnight, she shot Matthew while he slept in their bed. 1 shot to the head. No struggle, no warning. She allegedly told him she used Matthew's own gun. But the killing, prosecutors say, was only the beginning. Jennifer allegedly described what came next in disturbing detail. She said she placed Matthew's body into a rooftop storage container, dragged it down the stairs of the home, loaded it into a vehicle, then drove north of Salt Lake City and buried him in a shallow grave. At first, the man didn't believe her, but the details were too specific, too calm, too rehearsed. Later, during a phone call, he recorded part of their conversation. And during that call, Jennifer allegedly said words that would become central to the case. "If you think I could even hurt a fly, he's not a person anymore." He wasn't a person. The man went to police. With the recording and his testimony, investigators shifted the case from the disappearance to a homicide. Search warrants were issued. When detectives entered the Johnson Gledhill home, they weren't looking for signs of life. They were looking for what had been erased. In the master bedroom, forensic teams found a large blood stain soaked into the carpet beneath the bed. Blood was also found on the bed frame and nearby blinds. Testing confirmed it was human blood. Walls behind the bed had been aggressively bleached. Cleaning supplies were present throughout the room, and sitting where Matthew once slept was a brand new mattress purchased after he disappeared. To investigators, the message was clear. This wasn't panic, this was cleanup. Neighbors soon added another layer to the story. Several reported seeing Jennifer's parents at the home after Matthew vanished, cleaning late into the night, carrying items out, staying longer than expected. Jennifer's parents initially minimized their involvement, but evidence suggested otherwise. Both were later arrested and charged with obstruction of justice, accused of helping clean the scene and conceal evidence tied to the alleged murder. As physical evidence mounted, digital evidence followed. GPS data from Jennifer's phone placed her at locations consistent with the alleged disposal route. Her movements aligned with where Matthew's truck was eventually found abandoned. Yet despite extensive searches, Matthew Johnson's body has never been found. Law enforcement searched remote areas. Fellow National Guardsmen combed terrain. Friends and family held on to hope that bringing Matthew home would finally bring peace. But nothing surfaced. No remains, no grave, no closure. Still, prosecutors believed they had enough. On October 2, 2024, Jennifer Gledhill was arrested. She was charged with first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, and multiple related felonies. In court, prosecutors didn't hedge their words. Matthew Johnson is not missing. Matthew Johnson was murdered by the defendant. Jennifer pleaded not guilty to all charges. A judge ordered that she have no contact with her children as the case proceeded, citing safety concerns. This case forces an unsettling question. How does someone disappear without a sound? No neighbors heard a gunshot. No cameras captured a body. No one saw him leave. And yet, according to the state, Matthew Johnson never left that house alive. Until his body is found, the story remains incomplete. A family waits, a community watches, and one question continues to echo louder than anything else. Where is Matthew Johnson?